Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm the writer for the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, the National Arena League, and the ELF, the European League of Football. Today, I'm introducing my new co-host, Timmy, the Trash Talking Tiger Shark, has moved on to greener oceans as he's been picked up by the Aqua Channel to be their anchor for their news. So today, I'm introducing you to my new co-host, Wolfie D. Oh, 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 I am Wolfie D. I am in the house. Wolfie D is here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Nice to meet you, Wolfie D. It's nice to meet you, man. I hope you have a great time talking about football, Football Scientific. Wolfie D is here. All right, Wolfie D. Wolfie D is going to be helping out. He's going to be filling it for Timmy. He might have a little bit of different, style and stuff. That's nice to mix it up. Hopefully Wolfie D gets an opportunity to move on. Hopefully I get an opportunity, get some sponsors and stuff like that. So it's good that Timmy's got a chance. He's on the Aqua Channel now, so that's good. Okay. All right. First order of business. We had two actually exciting games at the end of the UFL today. Unlike the first two games, where the Battlehawks destroyed the Houston Roughnecks and the San Antonio Brahmas refused to show up against the Arlington Renegades. Today, there was actually two good games. But before we get to the games, I had some news I wrote about on UFL News Hub today about San Antonio Brahmas. It appears during the game yesterday, they did a transaction. Mark Lillibridge, or GM, did a transaction, and they must have released Jarrett Guarantano. He was not on the sideline for the San Antonio Brahmas. Their third-string quarterback, their emergency quarterback. He was not on the sideline. Okay, they had also announced, I got this late last night for our UFL press release, that they had signed a new third-string quarterback, a new inactive quarterback, Mike Hohensee Jr., who played at Northwest Missouri State. His dad is Mike Hohensee, who played for the Chicago Bears and also coached the Chicago Arena team, Chicago Blitz, I believe they were called. So that's a new addition to the Brahmas roster. I have a full write-up on that. From this morning on UFL News. If you want to check it out. I also talked about the game a little bit in Kellermond. Because I said they got a new quarterback, but it didn't mean they had dumped Kellermond yet. Although he didn't play that well. But it appears Jarrett Guarantano is gone. Bye. And now Mike Hohensee Jr. He went to the rookie minicamp with the Dallas Cowboys, but never really got a chance to hook onto a team. So he's gets another chance. That's good for him. Okay, next. Games of the day. Okay, so first at noon, the Michigan Panthers traveled to the Memphis Showboats, a USFL conference matchup. The Michigan Panthers looked really good. Okay, they looked really good against the Showboats. They won 26-12, which is very close to what I predicted. And also I predicted the under, and it was the under. Okay, so we took that as a win. Boom. The Michigan offense looked good. Their quarterback, Bryce Perkins went 16 for 19, running 63 yards, one touchdown. Had the best QBR of the weekend for UFL quarterbacks, 120 QBR. Danny Etling jumped in, but stunk up the place, 4 out of 6, 30 yards, 78.5 QBR. Bryce Perkins should be the starting quarterback there. He won the Super Bowl with the LA Rams, not as a starter, but he was on the team. Okay, Nate McCrary, running back, he had 14 carries, 34 yards. Their offensive line didn't play as well as I thought they would play, but they played well enough. They protected the quarterback well. They were able to run the ball some. Bryce Perkins also had a rushing touchdown on the goal line. So he had one rushing touchdown. Wide receiver Samson Nakuz was predicted a big game, but only put up 35 yards. He scored a touchdown for them. Let's see. Their defense had 3 quarterback sacks. Here's the real deal. Their defense came out, had 2 quarterback sacks, intercepted 2 passes, had 4 tackles for loss. Also, last possession of the game for the Memphis Showboats, they had a chance to. They went for 4th and 12. They got the ball. They were getting ready to go and try and close the gap on the game. And then Kai Nakua, their safety, picked off a wild pass by their quarterback Troy Williams, and ran in for a touchdown to seal the game, 26-12. On the Showboat side, quarterback Troy Williams, who was their starting quarterback, technically went 8 for 11 for 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. QBR 64.2, not very good. E.J. Perry, who played for the Michigan Panthers last year, came in 10 for 17, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 69 QBR. As I mentioned, I think the Memphis Showboats just have a bad mix of things at their quarterback position, along with other things. They had hard time running the ball. Deneric Prince went for 10 yards for 38 yards, or 10 rushes for 38 yards, 2 catches for 27. He was their best running back of the day. Pretty much had a tough time. Okay, they had a tough time. Jonathan Allen, wide receiver, had 6 catches, 93 yards, and had their lone touchdown catch. Okay. So, I mean, they played better than I expected. They competed against Michigan most of the game. They stayed in the game. Their defense played better than I suspected. I basically looked at Michigan Panthers being the second best team in the USFL conference. But based on today's outcomes, they might be the best team there. They're just not a dominant team. But they do have a decent running game. They have a decent offensive line. They have a really good defensive line. And their secondary played a lot better than I expected it to. Or Memphis played a lot worse on offense. It's hard to say. But Michigan Panthers won that. I predicted that, and I got the under right. Okay, next. On the next one, I did lose my pick, but it's actually a good thing. Okay, so DC Defenders and Birmingham Stallions face up at Audi Field at 3 o'clock, and I've been mentioning coming into this season, I think the Birmingham Stallions need to not be a dominant team to maintain fan interest. It's no fun watching the Birmingham Stallions win every game and win every championship. Blah, blah, that's no fun. DC Defenders, they lost their coach Reggie Barlow, but they had everyone else there. So they came in. Last year, they really gave the Birmingham Stallions a tough time. Birmingham barely beat them in Birmingham. So there was a chance it was going to be a tough game. I thought maybe DC would come in kind of disheveled because of the head coaching change. But it turns out they came in really motivated because I guess during training camp, we know all the hub city of Arlington, Skip Holtz was really unpleasant towards the new head coach, Shannon Harris. So I guess you call him a doorman. He was not happy about that. So DC Defenders, I have written down here, if they are given the UFL, they're put them on notice. Okay, the defense of the DC Defenders, Greg Williams' defense, last year struggled. They really didn't have the pass rush they're looking for. The secondary wasn't very good. The offense had Abram Smith missing. Jordan Talman didn't look the same without a good running game. So it seemed like they were really struggling. But this defense of the DC Defenders and Greg Williams, it is popping. It's back to where it was in the XFL days when they were one of the best teams in the league. I'm holding on to spoil the outcome, but I'm going to spoil the outcome. They had 8 quarterback sacks against Alice Magoo today. That is crazy. 8 quarterback sacks in any league is crazy. They had 9 tackles for loss, 8 of those are quarterback sacks. They forced 1 interception, have 1 fumble recovery. That's amazing. 8 quarterback sacks against the Birmingham Stallions. I fear for the next team that faces the DC Defenders. They're coming to get your quarterback. You better be able to protect. Otherwise, it's going to be over. San Antonio better write that down because their protection was horrible. And if they go against DC, it's going to be a mess. They're going to get splattered all over the field. Quarterback for DC, Jordan Teamu. He was not that impressive. And they had a lot of possessions. The defense balled out. But he went 17 for 37, 211 yards. He had a quarterback rating of 61.9, 1 touchdown, 1 reception. Ramble. His 1 touchdown went to 1 receiver. Running back. They weren't overly impressive running back. Abram Smith, as I mentioned, had 13 carries, 37 yards, no touchdowns. Boom. The main thing was that defense was overpowering. They won 18-11 against the Birmingham Stallions at Audi Field, 18-11. Okay, and Birmingham had a chance to fight back, but never really got anything going because that defense was all over them. Okay. Birmingham Stallions quarterback Alex Magoo went 10 for 23, had 89 yards passing. That's under 100. That's a bad day. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had a quarterback rating of 50.8 because he got sacked 8 times. Whoa. Okay. The running back, Ricky Person Jr., only had 6 carries for 29 yards. They had a receiver with 2 catches, 28 yards. They had CJ Marable, another running back. He scored 1 touchdown for them. 1 catch for 12 yards for a touchdown. Their defense, they came out and did not play nearly as well as the DC Defenders. If DC Defenders play like that on defense all season, they're probably going to win the league. They'll probably win the championship. That's a really great defense. And he gets their offense popping a little bit. But I'm happy for Greg Williams. He's one of my defensive mentors. Several years ago, I went to a coaching clinic in St. Louis, Missouri. And on the way there from Indianapolis, it got really snowy. And I don't know if you know anything about St. Louis, Missouri. They don't have a great snowplow system. So we went from Indianapolis to St. Louis. There was about 8 inches of snow that fell. And it was a complete disaster. I got to the clinic, though. and it was a Nike Coach of the Year clinic there, and I got there, and Greg Williams was there, and Jimbo Fisher was there, and a few other coaches were there, but really only like 20 people showed up because they couldn't get there because of travel. And the whole weekend was just Greg Williams and Jimbo Fisher sharing information. It was awesome. Got one-on-one coverage, like a 5-hour clinic from Greg Williams during the year he was out of the NFL because of the Bounty Gate situation with the New Orleans Saints. So, I mean, it's awesome that he's doing well. I'm happy to see Greg Williams. While the DC Defenders being good is really bad news for the Brahmas, Brahmas got to realize St. Louis Battlehawks look great. Arlington Renegades look great against the Brahmas. DC Defenders defense looked great. Okay, that's the XFL conference, and the San Antonio Brahmas look uninspired and not great. If they lose to the Battlehawks next week, they could be in trouble. 0-2 could put you away pretty soon. They got to be careful. Come on, Brahmas, get it together. Okay, all right. Next, NAL results. 2 games we played last night. The Idaho Horsemen were a surprising. They played a really close game with Omaha Beef, was a surprising. Idaho Horsemen really don't run the ball very well. There are a lot of crossing routes. To me, their offense is very predictable. But the Omaha Beef are all over the place right now. If you remember, the Omaha Beef lost to the Minnesota Warriors, a semi-pro team, in the preseason game. And during that time, it really looked they're having major offensive issues. Okay, they could not get their offense going. They lost 24-23. The defense did play well, and it seemed like it was just a blip. They said that people are giving their tendencies to the Minnesota Warriors. The whole league worked against them. Blah 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 blah, and then they struggled. They came out and they beat Shreveport Rougarou. They came back and beat the Colorado Spartans. They were looking good. But the Idaho Horsemen traveled to Omaha, and they made this a nail-biter, okay? The Beef beat Idaho 28-24 was the final score, okay? But the Beef did not look right on offense, okay? So their offense struggled to get in a rhythm. They were down most of the game to the Idaho Horsemen. The Idaho Horsemen kept putting drives together and scoring. They do struggle in the red zone, as they've done before. They can't run the ball in the red zone. They can't run the ball. So if you can't run the ball in the goal line area, you're going to lose most of the time. And they couldn't do that still, which is why they probably still lost the game. But their offense did get it popping a little bit, okay, with the passing. They hit some big plays. And that's what kept them in the game. They kept hitting big plays downfield, getting points in the end zone, throwing up passes and scoring. Omaha really couldn't get their running game going. And they want to run the ball and play action over the top. But they couldn't get the running game going. They did in the second half, get it going a little bit, and they got a turnover and got it going. That's how they got the lead. But they had like a 13-point lead, but then they still gave up points to Idaho. It came down to an onside kick. It was a very exciting finish. That's a bad sign for the Omaha Beef. They're a very defensive-oriented team right now. Remember, they have not lost an NAL game in the last 2 years, and this is the third year of not losing. They're 3-0 still. But the Idaho Horsemen are not a complete team, and they really struggled against them. They almost got beat by the Horsemen. That would have been a huge upset, okay? But Omaha held on. They're 3-0, okay? Next, Sioux City Bandits hosted the Colorado Spartans. Colorado Spartans have been a team that they struggled against Omaha's defense. They're very run-heavy. They're kind of the opposite Idaho Horsemen. They're very run-heavy with some quick passing. They like to hit crossing routes. Everyone likes to hit crossing routes in indoor football. But they are more run-oriented, okay? And I think that makes them better built for winning, or at least competing on the road. They're 1-2. They lost this game to Sioux City 35-26. But that is a competitive game. It's probably the best year the Colorado Spartans have had, as far as I know, in the NAL. What I saw from the Sioux City Bandits, they're inconsistent on offense and defense. They look really good at times. They kind of dip off at times. They turn the ball over when they shouldn't. They don't look polished. Okay, if you remember last year, they made the championship game against Omaha, and they lost that to Omaha Beef. I think they're up. They're another team that's up and down, but more so than Omaha. They got beat by the Belmont Renegades. I think that's going to stick in their craw for a while. We will see Omaha play the Belmont Renegades in 2 weeks. And I think that will tell me a lot about the Belmont Renegades. They have not played since they beat the Sioux City Bandits. So what are they really? They're a solid team. They run the ball. They pass the ball. They do everything you got to do in indoor football to win. But they were down to the Sioux City Bandits, and they came back and won that game. I don't know how good they are, but I know they beat the Sioux City Bandits. Sioux City Bandits beat the Colorado Spartans. Well, I think they're a pretty good team. They're in the American Conference, though, with the Carolina Cobras and Columbus Lions, Shreveport Rougarou, Wheeling Miners, ew. And, I mean, it's hard to say where they're going to fit into things. They've only played one game. Okay. So I saw a lot of inconsistent play from Sioux City Bandits. I think they'll lose to the better team. I think they'll lose to the Cobras. I think they'll lose to the Lions. I think they'll lose to the Beef because of that inconsistency. Colorado Spartans, though they ran the ball well, they quick pass, they minimized their turnovers, they had some penalties and still a couple of turnover issues, but they had less than normal. They kind of looked like they did against the Wheeling Miners when they won that game. Had the Sioux City Bandits made more mistakes like the Wheeling Miners, Colorado could have beat them on the road like they did Wheeling. But Sioux City's a little bit better than the Wheeling Miners. They're not the best team in the league, but they're not the worst team. They're in between. They're in the middle. I think they're the second best team in the National Conference behind Omaha. But if you catch Omaha on the right day, you might beat them. Okay? All right. So, going back to my predictions, in the UFL, I went 2-2. 2-2. Would have been 3-1 had Birmingham taken care of business. Would have been 4-0 if San Antonio Brahmas would have took care of business. But I remember my old high school coach, Rick Kirkton, used to say, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. So I would have been 4-0, but the Brahmas tanked. And then I would have been 3-1, but the DC Defenders blew up the Birmingham Stallions. And I'm happy to see the Stallions lose. Not because I'm against the Stallions. I like going to the Stallions game and watching. It's entertaining. It's close by. It's nice. But they have a nice experience for their games. But I think it's better for the league, for the Stallions to not be the best team in the league this year. They need to be knocked off. And I think DC is a good team to do that. They played really tough against the Birmingham Stallions. I think their interim head coach felt really disrespected by Skip Holtz, and he was very loud about that disrespect after the game. I think that's cool to watch. You need a legit rivalry. That's something you miss in the UFL, is you don't have a legit rivalry. I wish the DC Defenders and Birmingham played again, but they don't. They only play once, and that should be a game they play again. If that's the UFL championship game, I'm watching that game. There might be a fight or something. That's pretty cool, okay? I hope the San Antonio turns around, but if they don't get there, you know, for professional reasons, I love to see San Antonio the riding and stuff like that. But the DC Defenders defense is awesome. I'd like to see that happen. I thought DC should have won the championship 2020, but the season got cut off, COVID. And then I thought they should have won it the year, you know, they were in 2022, 23, I think. I think they should have won it then, but they got upset by the Arlington Renegades in the championship game. And I think, you know, they've been robbed. I think they deserve to win the championship. They would look good as a UFL champion because their defense is next level. Greg Williams' defense, chef's kiss. Nice job. Boom. All right. So with the NAL games being played, in NAL I went 2-1, so that's pretty good. I'm 8-4 for the season in the NAL, so that's looking good. 75% win percentage is pretty nice. I'd like to get to 90 or so. That's my level of that's my standard 90% win percentage. I'm at 75% win percentage right now. 8-4 after the first 4 weeks. They're not like the IFL. It's not complete games. Not everyone's playing. Beaumont Renegades only play 1 game. So I mean. But I'm 8-4. I'm happy with that. Columbus Lions, Carolina Cobras keep leaving me befuddled. That's confusing. But I'm happy to see it wasn't just Columbus Lions running over to cut. I think that's a rivalry game that needs to be cool. Okay, Columbus Lions and Cobras, Carolina Cobras need to be a good rivalry to keep that American Conference fun. Okay, I think the Omaha Beef, if they don't get beat by anyone, it's going to be boring. But they might get beat by the Bandits if they play them. They might get beat by the Beaumont Renegades. They've been having some issues. But with that in mind, I recalculated my NAL Power Rankings. So let's go through that. Remember, I'm 2-2 in the UFL. I'm 8-4 in the NAL. So that's looking pretty good. But the more data points I get, the easier it is to predict games. So, number 1 in the NAL right now, in my mind, is Omaha Beef. Still the 3-0, defending champions. Still they get knocked off. They almost got knocked off by the Horsemen. That would have really flipped everything, I think. But Omaha Beef are still number 1. Beaumont Renegades are number 2. They're 1-0. They beat the Sioux City Bandits. I'm not sure how good they really are. But in terms of logic, the number 3 is the Sioux City Bandits. They look like a more complete team. They're more consistent than the other teams. They're still up and down, but they're not really consistent. But they're more consistent than the Cobras and Lions, based on what I've seen, small sample size. Okay, they got beat by the Renegades, so I got Renegades at 2. They're 1-0. I got Sioux City Bandits at 3. They're 2-1. I got Carolina Cobras at number 4. They're 2-1 because they got shut out by the Columbus Lions, and that you can't be the best team in the league when you get shut out in an indoor football league game. They got a new quarterback, James Summers. He really was a difference maker. He played a lot better, and Columbus played horrible. So Columbus seems to be an up and down team on the road and at home. They're different teams. Okay, that happens in indoor football. So I mean that's not out of the ordinary. Okay. Number 3 was Sioux City Bandits. Number 4 is Carolina Cobras at 2-1. They beat the Columbus Lions. They won 40-20. They looked good. So recency bias. They are the better team, I guess, right now because they won the most recent game. Columbus Lions are number 5. Those two teams in my mind are right next to each other. Boop. I don't know who's going to be a better team. I don't know if Beaumont Renegades may sneak up and steal one of those teams' playoff spots. Remember, top 2 in each conference go to the playoffs. So on the national side, it's definitely Omaha and Sioux City right now. Colorado, Idaho just don't seem to be complete teams. They can't get those big wins. They got close, though. Okay, Columbus Lions, Carolina Cobras seem to be dominating there, but I have Beaumont in front of both of them because I just don't know, if I don't know how good they are. I just feel like they're better than Carolina Cobras and Columbus Lions right now because they're 1-0, they're undefeated. Okay, so whatever, they beat Sioux City, who's at number 3, so they have to be at number 2. The only logical place to put the Beaumont Renegades is number 2, even though that doesn't make any sense when they only play one game. It doesn't make any sense, but it's okay. Number 6 is the Colorado Spartans. They're 1-2. They have been competitive, though. They can't get over the top against the good teams. They beat the bad teams. They beat Willie Miners. I think they beat some other bad teams, but they won't beat the good teams so far. Okay, number 7, Shreveport Rougarou. Rougarou! I'd love to rank them higher, but they've only beaten the Willie Miners only by 7 points. They did get dominated by the Omaha Beef. I don't think they're in the top half of the league. I don't think they're a playoff contender, although they are fun to say. And now that we have Wolfie D, what do you think about the Shreveport Rougarou? Rougarou! Rougarou! Yeah, Rougarou is some kind of Cajun word for wolf. So Wolfie D is perfect for the Rougarou. Rougarou! I do have the Rougarou number 7. Thank you, Wolfie D. I have Rougarou number 7 in the league, and they're 1-1. They'll play some big games coming down the stretch here, so we'll get to see what they're about. We'll talk about that later in the week. Okay, number 8, I have the Idaho Horsemen. They came up from the last place, number 9, to number 8, Idaho Horsemen. They showed some fight. They showed they can compete against the best team in the league. So where do they fit? Number 8. They're still winless. And then number 9 is the Willie Miners at 0-3. They seem to get worse against worse competition. Against good competition, they get play better, but they're playing down to bad teams. No offense to the Rougarou. Okay, so that's my NAL Power Rankings for now. We're going to change every week based on more data points. Hopefully that helps with the predictions this week. Okay, all right. Next, Fisher's Freight. Boom. They got their first win. They went and beat the Northern Arizona Wranglers. I predict Northern Arizona will win that game because as a expansion team in the IFL, it's tough to win games. But the Fisher's Freight do have a good defense. That showed that. And their quarterback, Jair Wright, did play pretty well. He's a good dual-threat quarterback. And I don't know, this was a perfect matchup for the Fisher's Freight because the Northern Arizona Wranglers are pretty much an expansion team this year. All their players that were meaningful moved to the Bay Area Panthers, and their head coach left too, went to the Bay Area Panthers. So the Northern Arizona Wranglers are all new players again. They're all new players. So they're basically an expansion team themselves. Not on paper, but in roster, they're very new. All right, so it would be a perfect matchup for Fisher's Freight. Now, Northern Arizona did come out. They got jumped up 14-0. It appeared like they were going to run away with the game. Fisher's Freight, kind of what I expected, but then the Fisher's Freight started scoring and scored back. Northern Arizona panicked and went down to drain. At halftime, it was a close game. And in the second half, Fisher's Freight pulled away, and they scored 41 points. They won 41-29. That's a good win. Good win for Fisher's Freight. I lost that one, but I'm happy to Fisher's Freight. I spent a lot of time in my life in the Indianapolis area. I got some Indianapolis connections. So it's good to see the Fisher's Freight win that game. Good job, Fisher's Freight. Proving me wrong. Good job. Kind of like how I felt about DC Defenders. I don't like to lose the pick, but I don't mind losing when a team that should win wins. That's good. Good defense. Once again, good defense. Decent offense. Run the ball. Good offensive line. The formula works. Okay, so Fisher's Freight did a good job against Northern Arizona. They just played better on defense. They They got better as the game went, so they got some chemistry as the game went. Their quarterback, Jai Wright, dual threat guy, kept them alive on drives. Northern Arizona seemed to kind of go into a hole. They got nervous once they got down. They were cool when they were leading, but when they got down, they didn't know what to do, and then they fell apart. And Fishers did not. They came from the bottom, and now they're here. Boop. Great reference. Okay. All right. Tonight, right now, Tucson Sugar Skulls are playing Arizona Rattlers. I predict the Rattlers will win that by a lot, and they're winning by a lot at halftime. It's 35-13. There's probably a second half right now. And then later tonight, San Antonio Gunslingers are going to the Bay Area Panthers. I think Bay Area Panthers win that, but it might be a competitive game if the Gunslingers have gotten better. But they don't play a lot of defense. Tomorrow is also another IFL game, so I'm not going to IFL Power Rankings. I went to the NAL ones, but not the IFL ones. So NAL, remember I went through that. I'm not going my record right now. All I am, 2-1 in the IFL for this weekend. There's 3 games left though, so there's still a lot of games left. 2-2 in the UFL. Checking out my predictions. Okay, 8-4 in the NAL. Not perfect, but getting better. Okay, as we get more data points. And then in the IFL, 2-1 this week, which should put me at 3-3. So if I win all 3 of these games, I'll be at 6-3. And that'll be a really good place to be. That'll be 600% win percentage, and I'm starting to get to 90 again. Working my way up. As we get more data points, it should get better, okay? All right. Boom. Tomorrow night, late tomorrow night, Vegas Nighthawks travel San Diego Strike Force. I predict that's going to be the best game of the weekend. Too bad it's at 10 o'clock at night on the East Coast. It's not. It's like 7 o'clock on the West Coast, though. I'll probably watch that game on the Game Pass the next day and see how that turned out. I think that's probably be the best game of the weekend. Although Quad City beating Massachusetts by 2 points was a really good game. And Iowa and Green Bay. Right now, IFL. I saw their website today as I was trying to look at stats, which I couldn't find. I wanted exact numbers on these things, but I kind of just went by the flow of the game to describe what happened. I looked on there and it said the IFL, the best indoor football league in the nation, and that's true. The IFL has this figured out. Those games are better. Right now, the IFL season is better than the UFL season because the games are close. You have a lot of parity. I love the IFL for parity. If you like good sports, IFL is what to watch, okay? And they don't complain. Those players don't complain. And if they have a problem with a player, they just dump them and replace them. They don't mess around like the UFL's doing. They don't mess around. They just dump you and move on. Boom, you keep getting better. And they build all season. That's pretty cool. So good job, IFL. It's been very fun to watch you. I'm 3-3 for the season, but I'm 2-1 this week so far. Let's see if we can make it better than that. Okay? All right. NFL news. San Francisco 49ers had several things. First, they're going back and forth on Brandon Ayuk. I've seen they want to trade him. I said they don't want to trade him. I said they want to trade him. Well, here's the real deal. Brandon Ayuk qualifies for a roster bonus for $22.85 million. That's a huge roster bonus on April 1st. So tomorrow is March 31st. They have 1 day to figure out what they're going to do with Brandon Ayuk, and there's no deals currently on the record. So it's not expected they're going to get rid of him. They're going to pay him $22.85 million. I think Brandon Ayuk's going to stay a 49er right now. So it seems like unless something big happens tomorrow, which could. It could happen. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're Mike Tomlin is saying, hey, we're moving on quarterback-wise. Aaron Rodgers may come here. He may not. We met with him. It was a cool meeting, but we got nothing done. So they're evaluating their options now. Also, they may have some interest in Jackson Dart in a draft. If I was the Steelers, I would trade up. I would trade with some picks with the Tennessee Titans. They need a quarterback. They have a pretty good team. They need a quarterback. I saw J.K. Dobbins is probably going to the Steelers. They have what they need. Okay, they need a quarterback. I would trade and get Cam Ward. I think that's a good fit, actually. That'd be a really good fit for Cam Ward. Better than going to the Tennessee Titans where he's going to be set up for failure. Okay, all right, so that's the news there. Okay, NFL draft news. Jackson Dart is getting interest from New Orleans Saints, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the LA Rams. Rams could use him as a guy behind Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's getting old. He might retire soon. They talk about retiring this year until he got extended. So from Ole Miss, Jackson Dart is getting some interest from some of the better teams. I would rather go later in the draft in the first round than in the early part because you got to play for the worst teams you picked early, and you might have your career ended quickly. Boom. But if you get picked by a good team that's decent already, a playoff team like the Steelers or the Rams, then you have a good starting point, and you might be a really good quarterback at the end of the day. Okay, Nick Chubb keeps being a story. The Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett's trying to get Nick Chubb to come back to Cleveland, which would be a good find for them, good running back for them. Chicago Bears are also trying to get Nick Chubb. They don't think they're going to get Ashton Jeanty or whoever in the run. Scatterboo would be available. Scatterboo's going to be really good, I think. But it's like the Bears are trying to get the Garrett. It's something they know about. They know Nick Chubb is good. I think I'm going to go for Nick Chubb. See if he goes to the Bears or the Browns. I would go to the Bears. The Browns look like a mess to me. Okay, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. This broke out. Some rumor I saw today. He had visited Dre Greenlaw. If you remember Dre Greenlaw, he quit during a game last year. He just quit. He's like, I'm out. I'm tired of this. He went sat on the bench. Linebacker, they tried to bring him back. It kind of looks bad. Kyle Shanahan, head coach, went to his house to try and convince him to re-sign with the Niners right before he signed a contract with the Denver Broncos. So he goes to the Denver Broncos. He quit on the team, and no one liked that. And it looks really bad with optics. And it looks worse with optics to have Kyle Shanahan begging for him to come out to the team. Just let it go, bro. He didn't want to play for you. It's probably better to reduce him. Sometimes you got an attitude guy, just cut him. Get him out of your locker room. It's better for everyone. Speaking of locker room guys that need to be cut, Aaron Rodgers, another update, another rumor update. He made us take the 2025 season off. If he takes off the 2025 season, please let this be over. Just retire. Have some self-respect. It was over in Green Bay when you got replaced by the dude they have now. Okay, it was over then. But you decided to try and be like Brett Favre and go to the Jets, and that failed miserably. Brett Favre was much better with the Jets, and then you're trying to do something else, but you don't know what to do. And he's not interested in really playing football anymore. He's doing a lot of other stuff with ayahuasca tea and tribal stuff and all that. Just do that. Be happy with yourself. Yeah, you won one Super Bowl. So Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. You're as good as Trent Dilfer. Nice. Let it go, man. Let it go. Everyone can live without you, okay? Just let it happen, and then you've been in the Hall of Fame in 7 years, and we'll talk about you again then, okay? Atlanta Falcons. So there's still rumors about Kirk Cousins. If you remember, Kirk Cousins said no trade clause right now. He said he may consider dropping a no trade clause after the NFL draft, which is the worst time to drop a no trade clause because all the negotiating power for the Falcons is gone. He doesn't want to set up things good for him. He wants to be the starting quarterback at Atlanta. He's not going to be. Michael Penix Jr. is. But they paid him a $10 million roster bonus, so you'd think they'd keep him around. But he's going to be the highest paid backup quarterback in the history of football, most likely, if he stays there. So they want to trade him. They want to release him, but because they have no critical thinking skills in Atlanta, they're just going to overpay their backup. He's going to be unhappy. I think they're going to have another disastrous season. Raheem Morris, he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the head coach, and it was a bad situation with quarterback problems, and you can make that excuse. He's now the head coach at Atlanta. They're having quarterback problems. Maybe it's Raheem Morris. Maybe it's not these other players' fault, okay? CFL, a big thing happened there. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have been talking to Canadian wide receiver, plays in the NFL, Chase Claypool. He's played 7 years in the NFL, 58 games, 175 catches, 261 yards, 13 touchdowns, 33 runs, 171, 2 touchdowns. He's been very good. He's from Abbotsford, British Columbia. His mom is from Saskatchewan. So he's still a free agent right now, and he's coming off an injury, and it looks like maybe no one wants to give him a chance. And he's a Canadian wide receiver. He'd be a really big find for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They might go win a Grey Cup if they have Chase Claypool, if he can stay healthy all season. And I think, if I'm hurt and people want me to prove that I can still play, I think he could go to Canada for a year, play for the league minimum, blow it up, win a Grey Cup, and then come back to the NFL and be picked up again. I think that he can. He's been around. He's been a proven player. He could do that. That's a risk for many players to leave to the CFL and try to come back. That's why I think Trey Lance would not do that. But Saskatchewan Roughriders trying to make moves, trying to get some big-time players to their NFL players to their camp. Okay, a really confusing report from 3 Down Nation talking about new roster rules. The article probably wasn't well written. It just seemed confusing, but I guess in the past, maybe the NFL or CFL draft picks you have count against your roster total in camp, but they're not going to anymore. They're non-countable players, something like that. But it seemed like it's going to be an issue with giving CFL players more opportunities. The article is confusing, honestly. But it did get my interest sparked on some important dates. So, how the roster goes, after the CFL draft, CFL teams are allowed to have 100 players. They have to cut that down to 85 before rookie camp is done. So they go to rookie camp. They had to cut down to 85 players, so they got to cut 15 rookies, pretty much, in rookie camp. Then after they got them there, they got to cut down to 75 before the first preseason game. They got to cut down to 50-some by the start of the first game, their first regular season game. So that's kind of how that goes. The drafted players who have not been to training camp previously in the NFL or CFL will not count to the roster, so they'll get more opportunities if you've not been in training camp previously. I think it's a good thing for the CFL players. Three-down so it's a bad thing. Ted Gavea said he was unsure how he felt about it. I think it's confusing for him too. Whatever the three-down nation said was really confusing. Welcome to Canadian reporting. It's Justin Dunk. He played quarterback or something with AFL. But sometimes the reports really don't make any sense. No offense to Justin Dunk. Not talking trash, just saying it's a story together, bro. Okay? He's getting paid way more than I am for that. So get it together. Get a story together, man. Corky, you got something to say about Saskatchewan Rough Riders? We are making moves! Go Saskatchewan! Let's go! They're making moves! Alright, let's go! Rough Riders, I hope they get Chase Claypool, and I hope they get Trey Lance, and we'll take over the CFL. Let's go, Saskatchewan! Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I'm Corky the Crocodile. Wolfie D, the wolf. Wolfie D. Wolfie D, who are you? I'm Corky the Crocodile. Your accent, I'm confused. Oh no! Let's be friends. Let's be friends. Okay, let's be friends. All right. Good. Okay. Well, good to meet you. Good to meet you too. I heard you beat up Timmy. You heard about that? Well, I'll take you in a fight anytime. No thanks. You seem a lot bigger than Timmy. I'm a lot bigger than Timmy, and I got teeth. Me too. I got teeth. Never mind. Okay. That was enough of that. Okay. So that sparked my interest with some key CFL dates. And so here's some key CFL dates. Just throw them out there. April 29th is the draft day. At 11 a.m. on the 29th, CFL Global Draft will occur. You will pick 2 rounds of draft picks from international players. At 8 p.m. that night, the CFL Draft will occur, and you pick the rest of your picks. May 7th, rookie mini camp starts. Rookie camp starts, and they got to drop 15 people before May 10th. That's when everyone else comes to camp. May 10th, everyone's there. 85-player roster needs to be cut down to by 11:59 that night. The draft picks are non-countable players. They have not been in training camp before. May 11th, training camp officially starts. Excuse me. May 13th. Got to cut the roster to 75. Next, you got to go preseason game week 1 will be May 19th. It will be Calgary at BC. Preseason 2 will be 4 games on the Saturday, May 24th. Preseason week 3, which will be the last game before cuts, will be on May 30th. Okay, and then we're into the CFL season, which is a very exciting time of year. I enjoy the CFL. We'll have IFL, NAL, ELF, and UFL all going at the same time. It's going to be crazy here at Football Scientific once the CFL gets going. First week of games, training camp ends officially at May 31st, and the last few cuts need to be made by then, the roster cuts, and then you get in practice squad players are identified and stuff like that. So then you get into the regular season, and that's going to start Thursday, June 5th, with Ottawa playing Saskatchewan. Friday, June 6th, will be Toronto and Montreal. Saturday, June 7th, you got Hamilton and Calgary, and Edmonton and BC. So that should be a full week of CFL games. So we'll do a power rankings before the draft and after the draft. We'll do that for the NFL too. and it should be fun. I'll be doing some NFL mock drafts as well. Thanks for joining us tonight on Football Scientific. We're going to go watch the IFL games and see how that turns out. You should watch the IFL games too. Get the Game Pass, check it out. It was good to have you here on a Sunday, and we'll be back tomorrow to share our UFL Power Rankings. That'll be tomorrow, and probably NFL Power Rankings, pre-draft Power Rankings. So that should be fun. Wolfie D, you got anything left to say? No, I'm good. I don't have anything to say. My accent changed in the middle. I think I'm Australian. I think you are Australian. I guess we figured that out, so that's good. Yeah, Corky brought it out of me, you know? Yeah, I think Corky did bring it out of you. Yeah, Corky brought it up. And I want to say, go Rougarou! 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 Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's it, Wolfie D. Thanks for joining us. If you liked the video, like it on the button thing, push the little button. You don't have to do it, whatever. Subscribe to the channel, Football Scientific. Let's get 100 people. Let's get 1,000 people. Let's get 1 billion people. That would be great. It'd be fun to talk about football with more people. If you want to see something in the chat, let me know. Check out the articles in UFL News Hub and CFL News Hub and my Substack. And we'll be back tomorrow with more Football Scientific. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for having me, Wolfie D. It's all right. Okay, that's good. And Corky, thanks for being here. You're welcome. Okay, so, all right, thanks, and enjoy your night. Bye.